To be or not to be? Wherefore art thou, Romeo? Is this a dagger which I see before me? Shakespeare's plays ask lots of questions, but I've got one of my own. What was his favorite gemstone? From carbuncles and opals to diamonds and pearls, gemstones and their mythology are no strangers to Shakespeare's plays. But there's one gemstone that's mentioned more often than any other, and today we're going to find out which. I'll give you a hint. It's an organic gemstone. With 32 mentions across all his plays and 5 shoutouts in his poetry, Shakespeare's favorite gemstone seems to be the humble pearl. But to understand why, we have to consider the time during which Shakespeare was writing. This may seem like an odd choice when you consider diamonds, emeralds, and sapphires, but his choice will make sense in just a second. Remember, this was the turn of the 16th century. Galileo was spearheading the scientific revolution on the back of Copernicus's radical sun-centric model of the universe. And the bard probably had copies of The Prince and Don Quixote on his bookshelf. Michelangelo and Da Vinci had changed art history forever, and the southeastern United States was just being explored. The world was changing in a big way, and the bard was about to get lit. Terrary. At the time, the church held all the power, resulting in oppression of certain areas of scientific study. Cited as a threat to the church, it was condemned for dangerous prying into forbidden mysteries. Mysticism and superstition abounded in Elizabethan England. There are references to fairies, ghosts, and witches in plenty of Shakespeare's work, and gemstones were viewed through a similar mystic lens. In the case of pearls, part of their mystery lay in their origin. A notion thought to have begun in Asia was that, on a certain day each year, oysters rose to the surface of the ocean and opened their shells to catch a drop of rain, which would become the pearl. Without sufficient scientific knowledge, many claims were generally accepted during the Renaissance. In King Henry IV, Part 2, the Queen finds herself close to drowning. In a last-ditch effort to avoid shuffling off her mortal coil, she rips off her precious necklace and casts it into the sea as a sort of sacrifice to appease the briny deep. With culture playing such a big role in which gemstones are valued over others, it makes sense that we see different cultures place value in different stones. This phenomenon was true in Shakespeare's time, and we can see it in Othello. It was commonly understood in England at the time that pearls were abundant in India and therefore less valuable there than at home. As such, Othello describes himself as the base Indian, having thrown away his pearl, not knowing its true worth. And by pearl, he means Desdemona, his love, and by thrown away, he means killed her, and then he killed himself. This is Shakespeare we're talking about, remember?
When all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these kids started killing themselves all over my property.
Next, let's talk about the queen of gemstones, Opal. You may have heard opal described that way before. What you may not know, however, is where that phrase originates. But if you do, please tell us, because sources conflict and we don't know either. Whatever the origin of the phrase, Shakespeare definitely seemed to agree. He loved opal. He liked to compare characters with fickle and changing natures and temperaments to opal's play of color. In Twelfth Night, a jester suggests to Duke Orsino that he hopes his tailor makes him an outfit of color-changing fabric, because his mind is a very opal. Leave it to the clown to come up with a slick burn. The superstition around opal during the Middle Ages was that it brought good luck, given that it embodied the beauty of many of the other gemstones popular at the time. Roman scholar Pliny the Elder described opal as having the living fire of ruby, the glorious purple of the amethyst, and the sea green of the emerald. Couldn't have put it better myself, Mr. the Elder. Opals are composed of tiny beads of silica, and it's the arrangement and size of these spheres that determine the pattern and color of that famous rainbow spectrum. As light passes through the silica, it gets bounced around and diffracted, separating into individual colors of the visible spectrum, resulting in the iconic rainbow that makes precious opal so, well, precious. Not all opal has this play of color, but it's still pretty. Opal has also been known to replace organic matter during fossilization, giving us some of the coolest fossil specimens you've ever seen. If opal be the queen of gems, then surely black opal is the king of opals, right? It was first discovered in 1902 and is the rarest and most valuable form of opal. Black opal is any precious opal that has play of color on a dark body tone, from dark green to blue, and actual black, giving a real, Northern Lights vibe. Most black opal comes from Lightning Ridge, Australia, although another source was recently found in Ethiopia, a country that's starting to make its own name in the opal business. There are so many varieties of common and precious opals out there that we could probably make a whole separate video about them. Would you like to see that? Let us know in the comments down below. For now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our future videos. And in the words of Will himself, "Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say goodnight till it be morrow." Thanks for watching.